Welcome everyone. We're backstage at the Gramercy Theater with members of Exhumed here.
Members, Greg and Philip.
All right, so Greg and Philip, my first question tonight is how many times on average per week do you believe that you masturbate on tour?
On tour? Fuck, per week, maybe 4. It's hard to find privacy.
I would say when opportunity presents itself in the form of a hard penis and a willing hand. I mean...
Would the willing hand be yours?
Well, that would be called masturbation, yes. So It would be my hand, of course.
Okay.
Yours is the only hand that's probably willing.
We gotta take one break.
Though you know that masturbation is the gateway to homosexuality, right?
Because you're getting a hand job from a dude.
Well, I mean, you're playing with a dick. Although it's your dick, it's still a dick. So you're playing with a dick. So that makes you gay.
As long as it's my dick.
Wait, ask them why it's gay to masturbate.
Why what?
Why it's gay to masturbate. We didn't catch that.
No, and actually what it was masturbation is the gateway to homosexuality. It really is, because, I mean, you're playing with a dick. Whether it's your dick or somebody else's dick, it's still, you're playing with a dick. So that makes you gay.
What do you think about that?
Well, if masturbating is gay, then I'm gay as fuck. But I don't know that I agree with that hypothesis. There's no shame in getting a hand job from a dude as long as you're the dude. Yeah. And there's no shame in getting a hand job from a dude anyway. Like, if you're gay, go crazy. Suck a million.
If you make eye contact, then that means you're into it. It means you're gay. If you make eye contact and then grunt, yeah, you need some help.
So we just spoke with Barney from Napalm Death, and Barney wore a pink Justin Bieber shirt in Russia while they were touring in Russia because Russia enforced some sort of law. Yeah, they're super anti-gay. So do you think that you would do the same thing? You would participate in pro-gay activism to be on Barney's side and anti-Russia?
Well, I wouldn't wear a pink Justin Bieber shirt, but I'm definitely against any regime that's going to stifle human rights based on race, sexuality, sexual orientation. It's bullshit. I mean, do what you want as long as you're not hurting anybody. Like, a rapist is a rapist, but
Right, here we go. Herpes only once a month.
Herpes!
Finally, only once a month.
What? I don't even understand what this is. What do you mean?
Impenetrable.
You don't.
Herpes impenetrable.
It's so your herpes will only pop up once a month.
I like my herpes.
I do what I can, man.
Thanks, bud. I don't understand this gag.
Ask them what they think of their new label or their present label.
What do you think of their current label?
I like him. We've been working with him for 16 years, 17 years. Yeah, 16 and a half years or so. So obviously we get along pretty good, or we wouldn't still be working with him.
Personally, I just joined the band 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago. My experience with the label has been pretty positive. They've helped us out a lot when we needed help. They put a new engine in our van. They've been putting out our records, and they've been doing a lot of label stuff. I mean, my only complaint is that they don't give us the freedom to print whatever merch we want, but then I understand that the contracts are contracts and you have to abide by contracts, but now we don't have a label, so we're currently looking for a label, and we want someone to actually, help us out with our the growth of our band.
Ask them what carcass means to them.
What does carcass mean to you?
And how many words?
I like that Bill was this Svengali.
3 words?
3 words. 3 words only.
3 words to... All right. I would say influential. I would say...
But seriously, isn't Exhumed what Carcass would have been if they weren't gay?
I don't think that Carcass is gay. I mean, we're two different bands. We're more like a Bay Area thrash, crossover band with the same kind of influences as Carcass, and Carcass is one of our influences.
And they're gay.
Oh, I think Carcass is great, but I like a lot of gay music. I love the Smiths, so what do I know? It's just two different things, man. we're more of a thrash metal type band, and they're kind of just Carcass. They're just their own
But
thing.
seriously, didn't you pick up their slack when they turned gay? Didn't Exhumed take the next step that they should have taken if they weren't so massively homosexual?
I would say like what we did is we kind of took the early Earache sound, and I know. I think we did that early Earache sound and fuzz. We took that early Earache sound of Napalm and Carcass and Terrorizer, and we sort of, instead of finding other ways that were maybe slower or it could be conceived as more commercial, we took it in more of like a thrash heavy metal direction, but we always kept focused on speed, whereas those bands didn't necessarily always do that. I mean, with Wolverine Blues or Heartwork or whatever, to me what attracted me about this kind of music was like the speed and energy, so we just kept that as a constant, which may be limiting, but for me, I'm happy with it. So, I mean, it's not, every band makes their own decisions, and like, I always just say if you don't like the way your favorite band's going or you're not into it, then you just make your own record and do whatever you want, and then you'll always be happy, you know?
I've got a question to the bald guy.
All right. My name is Mike.
Yeah, Mike.
Proud to be bald. Proud to be bald. Rogaine. No Rogaine in this corner. Rogaine. Rogaine?
No grain.
No grain.
No grain.
He could talk about how in the, I don't know how long ago it was, but a lot of people said that they had record labels, but all they did was record albums and then just trade with other labels.
There's a lot of that going on.
Yeah, so could you tell about the difference between then and now with record labels?
I think the difference is now everything's more digital, where people aren't, pressing CDs, and people aren't buying CDs like they used to buy CDs, just because it's cheaper to wait for it to go on the internet and then stream it, or torrent it and get it for free. And it's kind of a sad thing, because when we were growing up, we're all in our 40s and 30s now, and it's like everybody went to shows, they supported the bands, they bought tapes, they bought records, they bought CDs, they bought shirts. And I think the newer generation, I mean, nothing against them, but they just don't go out and support like we did when we were growing up. And, labels back in the day, in order to survive, they had to trade with other labels, and it actually helped support the scene and other record labels by having your own distro and carrying like United Guttural and carrying Nightfall Terrorizer and carrying, all these underground record labels that didn't have distribution like the Relapse and like, Century Media had. So we relied on each other to help get our scene out there, get our music out there, and help each other's label grow. And it's not like that anymore. Now it's just all about, trying to accomplish the same thing by selling digital downloads. And it's kind of shitty the way it is now. I like the way it was of old, where people went out and went to shows and supported the scene and bought each other's CDs and traded. So, I mean, I don't know if that answered the question, but...
Thank you for that. Sarai will now continue the interview with her homoerotic questions.
All right, sweet.
No, they
Let's
won't be
get weird.
homoerotic, at least not yet. But at this point, I would like to ask you, how would you, as a fan of metal, as a fan of death metal and the entire scene, how would you ask your fans to support your cause and your music and the message that you're trying to bring out to everyone else?
For me, I would just ask my fans to just continue to come out to the shows, continue to bring that energy and bring that,
It's just in
Oh, this just in?
from the gay part of New York and Mike Hamilton.
Number one cocksucker. Number one cocksucker.
You're number one something, Mike. You did
right
it.
here.
I'm the champion. I won the first award. This is the first year of the number one cocksucker award. No. Apparently, I did really well because look at the vein structure and that thing. Boom. All right, enough of that. But no, I mean,
He just won something.
I did.
Can we? Wow.
Do you want to see? I need a fucking boom right there.
We need a boom.
A boom right there. No, I mean, just I would just ask the fans just to continue to come to the shows, continue to just engage in this thing that we're all doing. And it's like, Matt always has a lot of good points on stage. Like, there's no punk, there's no crust, there's no death metal, black metal. It's all metal. We're all just one big family, Just get out there, go to shows, support the bands when they're on the road, because nowadays bands aren't making the money like they used to with royalties and CD sales and stuff. So majority of their money comes from fans coming to shows, buying shirts to help them get to the next show. So all I would say is just support it and, continue to help us out. Come out to the shows and party with us.
Would you like to exploit Sarai's beauty and just tell her to say something on behalf of Exhumed? She's got a website called A Site for Sarai.
Okay. So would I like to exploit her beauty?
Yeah.
Sarai, you are doing such a fabulous job.
Thank you.
We appreciate you coming back here and just looking us in the eyes and asking us serious questions.
I appreciate it too.
I mean, look at that.
All right, back to you.
Okay, now I have another question. So there's a lot of confusion between Spotify and fans are unsure whether bands are really making any sort of money when it comes to Spotify and Spotify plays and Spotify views and followers and such. So could you tell us a little bit about...
Notify, bro. Don't do it.
Don't do it?
I don't know. I mean,
bands don't make any money off it. Bands are getting like a tenth of the money from Spotify that you get from traditional radio play. So as a revenue stream, it's more like an extreme trickle. I don't know. I use Spotify all the time. That's where I listen to all my Stevie Wonder records.
I think
That was when I wasn't funny. That was just my answer.
Like digital, streaming sites are doing it. They're actually paying the bands back, right?
Oh, they're paying royalties on a song. That doesn't necessarily mean that the bands get the money. I mean, they pay for license usage, but once the license fee goes through the record label and then the publishing company and so on, for a band at our level, Spotify isn't really even like a thing. So, Mariah Carey might make a couple bucks off it, but way, way less than.
Fuck Mariah Carey.
Why? She's a good singer.
No.
Have you ever heard Mariah Carey?
Her falsetto is bullshit.
Really? It's like really. Anyway, the point is, for a band like us, like Spotify is not a viable revenue stream, and even for a much larger artist, it's still a fraction of what traditional radio would deliver. That's all. So I use it all the time.
I honestly don't have Spotify. I mean, I know what it is, but I don't really. I'm old school. I would rather just buy a CD from a band or buy it at the store and just listen to my old ass CD player.
There you go.
I'm kind of old school like that.
Plus, MP3 sounds so much shittier than actual CD tracks.
CDs don't sound all that great either, but I mean, as opposed to the alternative, I don't have a record player. I mean, Matt Harvey's a vinyl collector, and he listens to a lot of vinyl, and just you'll never get that sound with CDs. I mean, but it's...
Of course, you need a good system, good tubes, like a really nice warm sound.
Well, it all starts with the recording. I mean, the recording has to be done in a good... Yeah. You have to have a big drum room. The days of doing it on 2-inch tape, and those days are over. Everything's so digital because it's cheaper and it's faster, and you can record something in 2 days and have it on fucking iTunes in like a week. And so it's like people can download one song instead of buying the whole album and listening to it in its entirety. I don't know. I'm just not into the whole Spotify thing. I'm just more into just buying CDs. That's my thing.
I agree totally.
It's the same thing, really. It's digital form of music, but I just like to have the packaging and open it up and read the credits and all that shit. So that's what I'm more into.
Do you want to talk about your visual aspect of it?
Well, we didn't get to use any of our visual effects today, which kind of sucked.
You didn't get to...
Wait.
You didn't get to use any of your visual effects. So the guy with the chainsaw, nothing?
Well, they don't allow, in this venue, they don't allow anything that has fuel that could be potentially like a fire hazard. So our chainsaw gets shut down every time we come to this venue. And then we got a 30-minute set, but apparently we got cut a little short, so we didn't get to do our antics. But normally we try to have somewhat of a stage show on every tour that kind of varies from the previous tour, just to entertain the fans and give them a little something different that most bands, don't really do. It's like anybody can go see a band that's just 3 guys in one spot headbanging for 30 minutes, but we like to bring the stage antics, and that's kind of where Dylan comes in. He kind of thinks of all the scenarios, situations to have these little skits that he does live.
That's really upsetting. I remember I saw you guys with Dying Fetus. You guys had that guy with the defibrillator. That was really fun.
Yeah, I can talk about that.
I mean, well, basically, I mean, tonight we didn't get to do it because we're in New York, which has a lot of rules. You know, the city is so punk rock, you can't do anything, including video your own show. So, playing your section. It's all in the garbage all over the street.
If you were the owner of a venue around here, what would your rules be?
I would sell
If
it.
there were any rules.
I would sell it and then move to someplace warmer and not full of assholes. That's what I would do. Because real estate here is really valuable. That would be my strategy. Well, I mean, my thing is just this, that we have a stage show that we do every night. We play all over America, all over the world, really. Do the same thing every night. There's like 3 or 4 places that consistently have an issue with what we do. This venue being one of them. So it's frustrating for us because we know that what we're doing is already neutered and safe, and we're not going to hurt anybody, we're not going to blow anybody up, we're not going to set off any fire alarms. We're not really, you know, it's unfortunately, it's very safe. And to get told that already this sort of fucking, like, polite sort of version of our stage show that we do every night is not polite enough, it's a bit of bullshit. So,
Yeah, what's frustrating?
it's very frustrating, you know.
Mike?
What's frustrating about that is that
Mike?
What's frustrating about that is you have bands that, you know, we'll go to Europe. You have bands like Watain and Mayhem that just have this elaborate stage show where they're using pyrotechnics, they're using real animal blood, you know, they have this elaborate show, and they do bring that show over to the U.S. And from venue to venue, it's, you know, it's downsized, I'm sure, from what they do in Europe, but still they're allowed to do it. Oh yeah.
Hey, what's up?
Nothing. This is my boyfriend. He plays drums in Ringworm. He's the best.
Interview call.
So it just sucks when we're trying to do our thing, and you know, part of our identity is our live show, and when they cut that from our live show, you know, it just feels like we're not able to, as artists, do what we want to do with our show. This is our music, our show.
It's not just that. It's also that people come expecting something which we're fully willing to give them, and we're not allowed to give it to them, and that's not really fair for anybody, in my opinion. But
Put the chain back
just
on the
work
saw
here.
and go after
The
it.
saw is the law.
I just work here.
Is Exhumed a California band? What's California about Exhumed?
We live there.
Yeah, I mean, we
From there?
Me and Matt Harvey, we you know, what, 3 years difference in age, but 4 years or something like that. We both grew up in the Bay Area in the heyday of thrash, fucking death metal. When it was, you know, bands like Sadist and Testament, Violence, and of course Metallica. And so we got to experience all those shows growing up as a teenager, watching all those bands just fucking destroy. And that's, you know, we take that from our youth to our music when we started writing and playing music.
Also, we own a lot of flip-flops.
And board shorts. Yeah, and we say dude a lot.
I also
like,
do this.
Yeah.
Sarai, would you like to ask the Mary question?
Okay, so Bill and I, we have a tradition, and our tradition is we ask every single band that we work with to sing Mary Had a Little Lamb. Are you familiar with that tune?
You know, it's been a long time. I'm actually not allowed to sing it or actually go into. I'm not allowed to go anywhere with like 500 feet within the school because I'm on this thing called Megan's list where I publicly urinated, and because I exposed my penis, now I'm a sex offender, registered sex offender.
You'd be offended if you saw his penis.
Oh, you'd be offended.
How about you? Will you sing Mary Had a Little Lamb?
I think so. I gotta think how it works.
Now, just so you know that George Corpsegrinder always pussies out, but every other band does it. Voivod did it, Napalm Death did it, will you do it?
George Corpse is also not willing to have a neck. Yeah, I just gotta think about it.
Sarai could teach you the song.
Little lamb, Mary had a little lamb whose face was white as snow. And everywhere that Mary went, Mary went, Mary went. Everywhere that Mary went, the lamb was sure to go bum bum. And then there's another part where she goes.
It's a bridge.
Yeah, I
I don't know the bridge.
Oh, okay, well I feel better because I was like,
Yes!
yeah.
Got it.
All right, fantastic. What's next? A, B, C, D, E, F, G. Brava, Jacques, Saturday Mattina, dum dum dum.
I'm a drummer, dude. I don't sing. Fuzzy Wuzzy was a bear. Fuzzy Wuzzy had no
This is
hair.
that song when you were a kid in elementary school, that suffocation song. Suffocation, we like suffocation. Suffocation.
No, I've never sang that.
Roll along down the hall, hit your dad, make him mad. Whoa, 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 suffocation. There's another one about diarrhea. Diarrhea, ha cha cha, diarrhea. When you're sliding in the first and you're feeling some immersed diarrhea, cha cha cha, diarrhea. When you're sliding in the third and you cut a big old turd, diarrhea, cha cha cha, diarrhea.
Do
You slide
any
into home and you land a juicy bone, diarrhea.
do any of you have anything negative to say about the asshole Beelzebub?
One time, he edited one of our interviews to make us sound stupider than we were. Which wasn't necessary because we were already pretty stupid.
Me personally, I don't.
Go ahead, it's unedited. You can say whatever you want. You have
I
full.
honestly don't have a problem with anything that you've ever done in the past because the Grimoire of Exalted Deeds has been super entertaining to read and then look at through the
You
years.
also showed
I just
pictures
love
of
how
bad
like he
tits.
just.
You showed
Yeah.
pictures.
Wait, show the mic. The mic keeps talking.
You showed some pictures of some floppy tits. Yeah. I've seen that shit. Some of that shit was a little bit floppy. Editing the interview with the cock swastika with Jesus on it.
Cock swastika with Jesus on it.
The image was kind of funny, but in the context of the interview, you were leading our old bass player, and you were talking about the carnivore song. Jesus Hitler, Adolf Christ, and the swastika and all that stuff. And you kind of led him in this way and edited the interview where I was like, that's not really what he said, because I was on the couch drinking while he was doing the interview. And I was like, it's not exactly how it went down. And then with the thing on the page, I was like,
Yeah, go ahead. Just totally clear the air and make fun of him. You have the last word in this interview, not Beelzebub.
But that's about it. I mean, I wasn't like angry about it, but I did remember like, that's why he sounds so clever in the interviews, because the editing with the switch of you. Got it. Okay. Smart.
Anything last to say? I would just say that, Beelzebub. After reading all your interviews with King Diamond, I think you just need to just ask him out. And I'm sure he'll go to dinner with you. Honestly, he's probably a nice guy.
If only you were
I
priest
mean,
obsessive,
you
you'd have a
know,
chance.
I'm sure he'll give you a shot. He may rough you up a little bit, throw you to the side, but hey, you'll have your moment with him. And I just think that you don't ask. It'll
Closed
never
mouth
happen.
don't get fed.
Closed mouth don't get fed. And if it's King Diamond you want, King Diamond you should get, bro.
Do you like that I gave you the last word?